When you think of Greece, maybe you picture ancient ruins or mighty gods, but Greece is more than just the past. It is a nation built on thousands of years of change, conflict, and culture. From powerful empires to revolutions, this is the story of a country where history never stopped unfolding. Located in Southeast Europe, Greece is often called the cradle of Western civilization because ideas like democracy, philosophy, theater, and even the Olympics all began here. So let's dive into Greece's history now. 3,000 years ago, the people who lived here weren't a part of one country. Instead, they lived in independent city states like Athens, Sparta, and Corinth, each with its own government, army, and way of life. But together, they made up what we now call ancient Greece. Then, in 507 BC, Athens introduced a revolutionary new idea democracy under the rule of Cleisthenes. Here's how it worked. There were basically three main bodies. One, the assembly, where anyone eligible could come. Now, this eligibility was only for the male citizens of the state, unfortunately, so that meant no slaves and no females. On average, about 6,000 people would show up and be a part of this assembly. These were the people with the ultimate authority. Then we have the Council of 500, which was also known as Boule, where 50 people from each of the 10 Athenian tribes would be randomly selected through a lucky draw kind of system. These people would serve for 1 year. Then, on top, we had 10 generals who served at a time, one from each tribe. These were elected, and these were aristocratic, which means that this was a position ruled by the best, because this was a position which required a lot of skills, and these were the most powerful individuals in the society as well. Then, in 300 BC, Greece became a part of Alexander the Great's empire. Now, this was one of the biggest empires the world had ever seen, stretching from Macedonia in Europe to the Indus Valley in north of India. But then, in 323 BC, in Babylon, Alexander the Great dies, and yet he hadn't named a successor. So, in short words, coming up is a lot of chaos. Basically, his top generals fought for power in brutal civil wars. Eventually, the empire split into several kingdoms, each ruled by a new dynasty. Now, Greece has entered from the classical Greece era to the Hellenistic period, and this is when Greek culture spread and thrived. It even mixed a bit with neighboring cultures to produce new forms of philosophy, architecture, religion, and education. And then, in 146 BC, the Romans conquered Greece at the Battle of Corinth. The Hellenistic period had now ended in Greece. Greece became a part of the Roman Republic, but instead of destroying Greek culture, the Romans embraced it. Greek art, philosophy, and science became central to Roman life. Now, let's fast forward to 1460 AD. This is when Greece fell under the Ottoman rule. This has started in Turkey in 1299. Now, this was also quite a big empire. Now, this would last for nearly 400 years. But despite restrictions, the Greek language and Orthodox faith helped preserve a strong sense of national identity for the Greeks. In 1821, the Greek people rose up and they fought the Greek War of Independence. After over a decade of struggle and help from Britain, France, and Russia, Greece was finally declared an independent nation in 1832 under the London Protocol of 1830. In the years that followed, Greece became a kingdom. King Constantine II took the throne in 1964, and just saying, he was the last king of Greece. But then, political tensions were rising. In 1967, a military coup forced the young king into exile after a failed counter coup. The new rulers, known as the regime of colonials, turned Greece into a dictatorship. They took away free speech and ruled with fear. Then, in 1973, as they were desperate to hold on to power, they abolished the monarchy and declared Greece a republic, even though the real control still lasted with the military. But this grip was getting looser. In 1974, after a failed coup in Cyprus and massive public pressure, the dictatorship collapsed. Civilian leader Konstantinos Karamanlis returned from exile and democracy was restored. That same year, the Greek people voted to end monarchy once and for all. So now, democracy was finally reborn in modern Greece. So, this is the story of the resilient country of Greece. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. This is Ozzy's Young Learning Emporium. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Bye!